Hello, Kansas and Western fans. This is another How I Do Stuff video, but this is going to be my first in what I hope are several, add-ons to other videos I've done. And this one's going to be about track weathering because thanks to @SP_Steve, his YouTube channel and his fine work, I've modified how I weather my track, and specifically in how I do my ties. And I reviewed my previous video on how I weather track, and it's literally a 90-degree shift in how I do these ties. And you can see here, it's very subtle. And again, we're talking about dry brushing here, but it looks so much better than what I was doing before. And I'll show you this very simple technique change that I did to change that method. And I want to share that with you all because I don't know how many of you watch my How I Do Stuff videos because you want entertainment or because you want to slum it after watching Boomer Diorama's awesome videos. Or you actually learn something. And if you're here to actually learn something, then I want to correct techniques that I've done in the past that I don't do anymore because I've learned better. I've improved my technique, learned from others, and especially in this case from SP_Steve. And I want to basically correct what I might have told you in a previous video. I don't want you to do it that way anymore because it doesn't work as well. So we're going to talk about a couple things here. First of all, I've got a brush here. And this is one of my regular hobby brushes. I think I get these from Hobby Lobby, this black handle, these long skinny ones. And what I've done is I've taken one of these smaller ones, and I'll show you what it probably used to look like. Probably used to look like that. And so what I've done is I've cut that about in half, cut the brushes about in half. And what that does is it yields a stiffer bristle. And that's very helpful because it doesn't pick up as much paint, and it helps to do the dry brushing by keeping, basically a stiff form, and works that way. So I'm going to show you how, and I have my little bit of paint here on a palette that we're going to use. And I've been just wiping this off on, and this is something else I want to show you too, is how much do you use for a dry brush, right? And I've never really known that until experience taught me. And so basically I'm wiping it off until about that point. You see that? Well, there's really not that much that comes off, and then I stop. And so now I'm going to show you here on these ties what this looks like. And here's the difference, right? So I used to go laterally with the ties, in line with the grain. But you can see here in this picture, there is some grain to these ties. And this is micro-engineering track, so I can't speak to all brands of track if they have this same kind of grain. But instead of going longitudinally, I'm going to go laterally, and you're going to see how that works here. So what's happening here is the grain of the ties is picking up the paint. And when you go laterally, it tends to catch the paint because you're basically going in line with, the valley of the grain. And so here between the stiff bristle, which doesn't hold a lot of paint, and going across the grain, against the grain, I guess you can also say, it does a much better job of not grabbing so much of the paint. And that's something that I've struggled with for a long time, trying to improve, is not putting so much paint, because then it looks like it's a painted tie, versus this weathering method here. So I hope this all makes sense to you guys. I hope you can see the massive change. And I'm going to go back over to one of my other ties real quick to show you the improvement. But this is basically the technique I wanted to show you. Plus with the tool itself, cutting that off so it's a much stiffer bristle. Sorry, it's not. There you go. That's a little better. But just how much better this looks. And you don't have to worry about pressure so much, because I did worry about pressure, figuring that would add a lot more paint. But this way, it's just so much better. Looks so much better. So let me hang on and show you one of my old video area where I did this. So this is the area of track in the Holcomb area where I did it the previous way, where I was brushing with the grain of the tie. And it doesn't look horrible. I think I'd gotten better at least on doing the dry brush method. But you can kind of see how streaks of paint end up in those little tiny channels between the grain of the imprinted grain on the tie. So basically what you're getting here is streaks. And I'll show you, I'll refer right back again to the way I'm doing it now. So this is the new method, right? No more streaks. You can kind of just see where rubbing right across the ties it's spreading the color a lot more evenly. and it just looks better in general, I think. So I think somebody commented on my video when I was showing all this yard trackage that I'd done on how good the weathering looked, and that's exactly the reason why. I watch other people's YouTube videos all the time, but I specifically watched SP Steve do some of his trackage, and just watching him do that method of sweeping across the tie instead of in line with it was just a game changer for me. So I wanted to share that with you in case you do try to pick up something from my channel. I wanted to just share my knowledge with you and hopefully improve your technique as well. So that's it for today. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you later.